right, what I need from everybody here is help, because the goal is still not met, and that goal is to bring Gabby home safe, all right? And I'm asking for help from everyone here. I'm asking for help everyone at home. I'm asking for help from the parents of Brian, and I'm asking for help of the family members and friends of the Laundrie family as well.
That's Joe Petito, Gabby Petito's father. And that was when this story was first breaking, and no one knew that Brian had murdered Gabby at that point. All they knew is that Gabby wasn't home, Gabby was missing. And that was a plea to anyone with information, but very specific to Brian's parents. And this was the point where I think America said, well, wait a minute, what's going on here? What is going on here? These parents have not spoken to the other parents? They've said nothing? I mean, Gabby is with Brian. They were fiancé. She lived in their home. My daughter's living in your home and she's missing, and your son is home, and you're not telling me where my daughter is? How could you do this? And that's when America turned on the entire Laundrie family, and especially the parents, because they're the only ones that we actually saw. Well, now Gabby Petito's parents have taken it to the next step. They filed a lawsuit against them for those actions and that inaction, for intentional infliction of emotional distress. Let me read for you some of these allegations. Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie knew of the mental suffering and anguish of Joseph Petito and Nicole Schmidt. And they knew that they could alleviate, at least in part, such mental suffering and anguish by disclosing what they knew about the well-being and the location of the remains of Gabrielle Petito. Yet they repeatedly refused to do so. Morally unforgivable. Let me go on. In the complaint, it alleges that Christopher and Roberta Laundrie were informed on or about August 28th that Brian Laundrie killed Gabby Petito. The complaint states that the Laundries knew Gabrielle was deceased and refused to help law enforcement or the Petitos locate her or provide critical information. The lawsuit alleges the Laundries kept Brian's whereabouts a secret and helped him make arrangements to flee. Those are the allegations. It's a lawsuit. You file a lawsuit, it's a complaint, then the other side responds to that complaint, and finally now we've got the response of the Laundries through their attorney. The gravamen of the claimed wrongdoing is that the Laundries exercised their constitutional rights and essentially made no statements to plaintiffs or law enforcement. As a matter of law, the Laundries' silence could not form the basis of a claim for intentional infliction of emotional distress. In sum, get ready, the plaintiffs have failed to satisfy the elements of causation and severity. The plaintiffs were understandably fearful about what happened to their daughter, and they would have been upset about their daughter regardless of anything the Laundries could have said. But the fear or sadness was not caused by the Laundries. It was an unfortunate, unavoidable part of the entire circumstances surrounding Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito. That's the response. Let's bring in the think tank. Renee Hill, Carmen Rowe, Molly Palmer. Carmen, the parents didn't murder Gabby Petito, but they knew something happened. They knew she wasn't home. They never reached out. They never picked up the phone. They never did anything. They just let Gabby's body rot in the sun, be eaten by animals. That's what they did. That's what they did. Many days, even before Gabby's parents knew that Gabby was missing, they knew and could have sped everything up in this. Why didn't they? And why shouldn't they pay for that?
Vinny, like you said in the very beginning, you know, our criminal justice system is made up of finding the truth, but we don't find the truth through making people give statements. And so they're exercising their constitutional rights in this case to remain silent, not to implicate themselves or their son in any criminal activity. And so while intentional infliction of emotional distress is something that needs to be outrageous, which this is, it's directly at the intersection of them invoking their right to remain silent, a constitutional right that is sacrosanct in this country. And so it's hard in this case because it's a tragic situation across the board. But as you said, these parents didn't do anything in this case to Gabby directly. Their son did, and all they did was try to protect him and themselves in the face of an entire country coming after them.
Okay, I'm a little confused, Molly Palmer. Clarify it for me. That's why we invite smart panels like this on every night to clarify things for me. So the parents were committing crimes, and that's why they had to remain silent? I mean, if they were innocent, they really don't need to remain silent. We're not trying to lock them up here. We're just trying to sue them for inflicting emotional distress. They're not facing any charges. They were never charged with anything. From everything I've heard from their lawyer, they're 100% innocent. So why do they need to remain silent? And why should that silence, why should they benefit from that silence when that silence creates the emotional distress and the intentional infliction of emotional distress on the Laundries?
Well, Vinny, I'm happy to clarify. And of course, I can even point to a specific case site from the United States Supreme Court, which has upheld the sanctity of our Fifth Amendment constitutional right not to incriminate ourselves. And in Ohio v. Reiner.
Incriminate what? What's the incrimination? They didn't do anything wrong.
I'm telling you that in Ohio v. Reiner, the Supreme Court held that that right applies to the innocent. It applies to those who have done nothing wrong. All they need to show is that there is reasonable cause to believe that making a statement could have some sort of legal consequence. And they are entitled to invoke this, whether or not they did a single thing. It is constitutional. It is American. It's how the system works. And you can find it morally reprehensible, like you said. I'm not saying that it's not in some respects, but the law is not morality. And the law is clear about the Fifth Amendment right not to incriminate yourself, even if you are innocent.
Okay, Renee Hill, how does this play out then? They're not going to talk. They're not going to say anything. They're being sued. Civil suits have things called depositions where I send you a subpoena, you got to sit down, I ask you questions. Are they going to sit there throughout their entire civil case and just exercise their Fifth Amendment right to remain silent and while they're being sued, or are they going to answer some questions about what they knew and when they knew it?
They may continue to exercise that right if there is any possibility whatsoever that they could be charged criminally and this deposition could then be used against them. Absolutely, they're going to continue to exercise their rights.
So
and,
what you're saying is they are criminals then, potentially.
No, we're not saying that because we don't know. And the allegations that are in this complaint, Vinny, where they are saying that they knew the date that Gabby was killed, they knew that where her body was and what had happened to her. How do they know that? That's an allegation that they are making, but you still don't know what Brian said to his parents when he came home. You don't know if he told them
that's why we've got the
somewhere.
Lawsuit.
You don't know that, right? But
that's the lawsuit. Those are the allegations. And in a civil case, I depose you and I get evidence. I can call you to the witness stand in a civil case.
And they still have the right to remain silent if there's a possibility.
Okay, let them take the Fifth in front of the civil jury. Let them take the Fifth in front of the civil jury. They'll be paying.
In this action, they are claiming that the actions of the parents were to intentionally harm Gabby's parents. But their actions, if anything, were not to harm Gabby's parents. It was to protect their child.
Protect or cover up a crime. Now now they're criminals again.
Or didn't do.
All right.
No, but it's whatever they did or didn't do is what prompted their actions, not what they were trying to do.
I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt. I said they're not criminals. They didn't do anything wrong. Just talk, right? We shall see. We shall see. Still ahead. On the docket tonight in Fairfax County, Virginia, movie star Johnny Depp getting ready for his upcoming trial on Court TV. Depp is suing his ex, Amber Heard, for defamation after she accused him of domestic violence.
I was hitting you. It was not punching you.
Don't tell me what it feels like to be punched.
Plus, tonight's 13th Juror question, can Johnny Depp get his reputation back if he wins his defamation case against Amber Heard?